Alright, week 2 is behind us, Unrivaled fans. We had some extremely entertaining fourth quarters, while the Hive and Lunar Owls got their first win of the season, and on top of getting a winner in the free throw challenge, we had multiple 30-point performances, and Unrivaled is making social media news for all the right reasons from an interview with Natasha Cloud. Rolling right into the best moments of the week, starting off with number 7, we have the Marina Mabrey and Courtney Williams dust-up during the Lunar Owls and Vinyl game. This was actually one of the better matchups of the week. Marina and Courtney definitely have a little bit of history there, obviously playing against each other in the W, but they're both very competitive, and we know Marina is a crash out queen. Courtney was playing her pretty tough, especially knowing Marina can pop off those threes and actually finish pretty well. They both received technicals, it really wasn't that bad, and Unrivaled, it's a lot of camaraderie. They were laughing it off by the next play, but what made it interesting was it literally activated Marina. All of her dogs started coming out, and on top of that, she was mic'd up for this game, so we actually got to hear a lot of the chatter between her and her teammates, something we really didn't see from the W, especially considering her position on her respective teams in the WNBA. But this was excellent to watch. She caught fire. The Owls needed all of that energy. It even gave Courtney Williams a little bit of oomph throughout the game. They'll probably start adding up the techs and making their own historic moments, but this may have been the first double technical as well as another technical handed out later in the game. So right now, this may be the game with the most techs handed out in Unrivaled history. But I would definitely attribute the Owls getting on the board, grabbing their first win of the season, to this Courtney Williams dust-up. Alright, rolling right into number 6, we have season debuts for Skylar Diggins and Kalia Copper. Now, Copper did better in her showings. In her first game, she grabbed 21 points and 3 rebounds. Somewhat struggling in her second game, but she was still able to put up 11 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists. The only thing that made it tough as far as the rows was that they ended up losing both games. So I can imagine that makes it a little awkward, especially as the player coming back. You gotta wonder, at least if only to yourself, and of course no one's gonna say the quiet part out loud. Now, Skylar did struggle a little bit more than Kalia, unfortunately, but the Owls need her regardless. Even while she's still getting her win back and her legs under her, they still need her decision making, her aggressiveness, and poise on the floor. She had 5 points in her first game against the Mist and 9 points against the Vinyl. Again, when the Owls were able to get their first win of the season. Okay, and then going into number 5, we're going to group them all together here and just shout out our 30-point performances from the week. And we had a few of them. Chelsea Gray scored 36 points against the Hive. Unfortunately, the Rose did take their first loss in that game. Not funny for the Rose, but extremely entertaining for the Hive, who were begging for their first win. And you know it felt good to get that win against the defending champions. And just a hot Rose team in general right now. Chelsea Gray being on a heater, so that win felt good all around for the Hive. Alicia Gray scored 30 points against the Lunar Owls, her previous team, the team that didn't protect her in this year's draft, but she went off, making sure they missed every bit of her scoring, defense, and all-around presence in this 3-on-3 format. Next, we got Jackie Young, who scored 35 against the Rose. She was actually putting on a masterclass. It was pretty sweet to watch. That particular game, the Laces versus the Rose, it was very back and forth, a nail biter all the way through, but Jackie Young's 35 points made the biggest difference in that game. Also making the 30-point list is Ryan Howard, who scored 30 points against the Breeze, and it was an absolute butt whooping for them. Paige admitted it herself, but Ryan Howard was definitely the head of the snake in that game, just taking it to the Breeze. Offensively, defensively, I would say the Vinyl finally showed up there, and not the Vinyl, but more specifically Ryan Howard. That's the type of Ryan Howard we want to see, not just an Unrivaled, but overall. She's such a great player, and these are the type of games that remind you how awesome she is. Okay, and then we had a 37-point game from Paige Beckers. This was such a statement win for the team themselves because they had just taken that loss from the Vinyl, so they all came out ready to play. You can tell from the jump, the team was ready to take it to them. They played against the Mist, which is a pretty good opponent considering, and Paige's personal matchup with Brianna Stewart was fun throughout, but ultimately the Breeze had to come back from losing 2 straight games, more specifically the one they lost by almost 20 points. But all in all, it was a great game for Paige. She even hit the game winner, and on top of that, she ended up winning the free throw challenge. So just to squeeze that in for her right now, the players were in a challenge style free throw tournament where the player with the highest free throw percentage in the first 5 games would win $50,000. And it ended up being a blowout for Paige Beckers, but if you look at the leaderboard, a lot of players had 100%. I believe you had had to attempt at least 6 free throws, but Chelsea Gray actually made more free throws than Paige Bueckers. I don't know if there was some type of behind the scenes thing going on here. I hope we get to hear from either player or even both together, maybe even in one of their new Unrivaled shows. Paige Bueckers did run away with this challenge, but yes, Chelsea Gray and Breanna Stewart could have had a pretty good shot had they not missed 1 free throw each. I wonder what the tiebreaker would have been, but congratulations to Paige. And then last on the 30-point list, we have Marina Mabrey, who had 31 points in the Owls game versus the Mist, and they needed every single one of those points. Again, the dust up with Courtney Williams definitely gave her a little bit of edge. I know she had some adrenaline running after that one, but Marina had a great game, and it's another reason I believe Unrivaled connects so well with the fans. A lot of these players, at least in the WNBA, you may see every now and again, but in Unrivaled it feels so personable, not just because it's only 6 players on the court, but the interviews afterwards, the side shows, their TikToks, the way they want the fans to be involved. So Marina ended up being a player that I really like now, and honestly it's just from watching her in Unrivaled. But her and Chelsea Gray are the only players to have 20 plus points in every game this season, so she's absolutely balling. It's just unfortunate the Lunar Owls will basically be injured for the season. Okay, and then number 4, I just really liked how Ryan Howard ended that game against the Breeze on a 4-point play. I'm definitely in the group that wants the game to end on a bucket, so it's interesting that she ended it not just with an and one, but with a 3, because they were just 4 points shy of the winning score. So in this sense, it still ended in an exciting way, but I would be interested to see what they would come up with if they added that rule that it can't end on a free throw. Alright, coming in at number 3, I just wanted to shout out the fourth quarters in Unrivaled. The fourth quarters are not timed. They play to a set score of 11 plus the leading score coming out of the third quarter. And we got a few good ones this week. The first one being the Phantom versus the Laces. Going into the fourth, the Phantom led the Laces 65-60. Now that's only a 5-point lead, but the leading team definitely goes into the fourth with a higher confidence to winning the game. This one went to Jackie Young and Brittany Sykes, playing great defense when they needed it and hitting important threes, and of course that game winner. It's definitely an exciting few minutes because you watch the team come from behind, tie the score, and still somehow get to that winning score against the team who had the better shot. And then in the second game, we had the Rose versus the Hive, and at that point the Hive had not won a game this season, on top of Chelsea Gray being on an insane run. The Hive led going into the fourth, but the Rose still had the edge and somewhat the momentum. With the Hive leading 66-56, the Rose clawed back and got within 1 possession of the win, and you could just see Chelsea Gray wanting that last shot, itching for just one more chance at a bucket. And honestly, had she got it, I don't think the Hive would have a win at this point, but she didn't, and Kelsey Mitchell saved the Hive from another Rose comeback. But again, that's what made the fourth quarter so fun to watch. Then in game 4, the Rose were up against it again. Going against the Laces, you got the same energy, but now that we had seen basically both outcomes, we knew that either team could win. They went into the fourth 58-55, literally meaning it was anyone's game. Tension was high. The momentum had been with the Rose the entire game, but the Laces kept it close, and in the end got the win over an already frustrated Rose who had just taken a loss to the Hive in their first game. Okay, and then number 2, for me at least, watching the games this week, it was a lot of WNBA teammates going against each other, and it was the pairings that were the most interesting for me, most specifically the Roses and the Laces game, because you have Chelsea Gray going against Jackie Young, and you have Kalia Copper going against Alyssa Thomas, WNBA teammates, and you had some Spark versus Spark action when the Rose played the Breeze. You had some Fever versus Fever action when the Hive played the Phantom. You had Valkyries blocking Valkyries when the Breeze played the Mist. It's like a little view into their practices where you know these players have went up against each other before, but it's so fun to watch, mainly because it's not really quick. They're playing the entire game in this matchup. Chelsea Gray and Jackie Young were going at it the entire game, each wanting to get the best of the other. The same went for Kelsey Mitchell going against Aaliyah Boston and Azurá Stevens going against Rakia Jackson. Just knowing these teammates are out there wanting to win, leaving it all on the floor in Miami, it just adds to that entertainment level, and honestly I love it. And using that mention of the W as a jumping off point, number 1 for me is Unrivaled just being in the social media rotation after an interview with Natasha Cloud got a little traction. In its current size, I don't think it could compete with the W, and we really haven't haven't seen if Unrivaled is losing money or not. We know businesses can operate at a loss, but because of how player fan focused it is, I could see this being an event, something to go to, something to see, especially in a bigger capacity. More teams, more heavily sponsored, but also the focus of all the players to make it something to go to as a fan. They have the young crowd in their favor with the Breeze and multiple NCAA stars joining right behind them. I really think they got together and had this conversation though. I can see this being the biggest bluff ever. Not even in a shady way, but I think they bluffed their way into a real league and now they have real leverage at the negotiation table. That's why you have buy-ins from players like Jackie Young, Paige Beckers, or Rike Agumbawale. They know this is exactly the best way to actually legitimize the WNBA, force their hands into paying them real wages, give them real training facilities, and make them compete with a league who's putting their players first. Now that does drag into the conversation of where this league would land in the event that the W did come to their senses and pay the players, but they're doing the groundwork and making sure this league is legitimate to whereas even if they're not playing in it, they have equity in a league that has life, that's trying to breathe into its professionals and add to the players that come through their platform, which honestly leads me into my honorable mention. It's like they want to make sure all these ladies come out better. They're going in ballers, but you're hearing about almost everyone starting a different business or foundation or program. Dana Evans wants to be a stylist. You got Tiffany Hayes in the fashion world. Kate Martin's a cook. Marina Mayberry's a cook. Jordan Canada recorded her song in season 1 and is releasing it after season 2. So you can just see not just the camaraderie, but the support they have down there. That has to be the most amazing environment to just be around your peers, get better at your main job, and then still have the support of all of them when you release a song or close or launch a business. It's just great to see. And I think even behind the scenes, that's why Unrivaled will have a piece of success. It's literally for these players, by these players, and somewhere in these meetings, they know the fans are important. But yeah, that's my look at week 2. Looking forward to a hopefully entertaining week 3. Let me know which players surprised you or surpassed your expectations, and we'll do this again next time.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, players.